the Maybach music.
It's dope when you, because like right now, and this is the cool thing too, is that everyone I've ever talked to, and this is my favorite part about podcasting, everyone I've ever talked to is like, yo, I can't do a podcast. How are we going to do that? I'm like, you talk to me.
And that's
the
it.
same way, and they're like, oh, how are we going to do that? I'm like, what we're doing right now, I hit record, we start talking.
Right.
So like right now, we're already, I think like 4 seconds in. Yeah, or 24 seconds in, my bad. We're 24 seconds in, and it's like,
just going.
Exactly. So, hey, listen, I'm very, very excited today. I'm really, really pumped. Because this has been something that I've been trying to, like, formalize for a little bit.
Gotcha.
Because, like, we've, like, been working parallel for a while.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, dang, man, I really got to connect. I'm with Andre from 6x6 Brotherhood. 6x6, right?
Yeah, 6x6 Brotherhood. Yep, foundation.
And it's dope. Here's the coolest part, man. Is that, so I met you, and if you really listen to this podcast, you know Jacob from episode like 15 or something like that.
Right.
And this is 41.
That's my dog.
We're in our Dirk Nowitzki episode. So,
Hey.
like if you know Jacob introduced me to Andre. Me and Andre have been working close-ish.
Yeah.
Close-ish.
I mean, we've done a couple events and tried to, get some stuff off the ground.
Oh, man, we missed a huge opportunity, and I didn't even realize it. 2 days ago, I actually went, it was the HBCU Classic.
Oh, you told me about that too.
And right when I realized when it was, because it was right after Thanksgiving, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together. Like, I just didn't realize the days. And right when I sat down, I was like, damn it, we should have done a giveaway for this.
Definitely should have.
We should have done tickets for this.
Definitely should have. Because we definitely we gave away tickets for the WNBA Finals.
That was cool.
That was the last time we worked, which was dope.
And I mean, the thing that I like about that too, and this is something that I've been telling people. My mom brought it up. She goes, I think that there's certain things that are house famous. I'm like, what? House famous? What do you mean?
Yeah.
She's like things that we know in our house that other people don't care about. I'm like, okay, like what do you mean? She's like, how many people were at that Thundercat concert you went to? I was like, I don't know, probably 1,000, 2,000 maybe. And she's like, right, but like we don't listen to the radio. So, like, we're not listening to, like, Drake. We're not listening to, like we have our people that we like.
Right.
And in the house, we know who they are. Like, okay, and this isn't just because I lived in Virginia Beach or Newport News. But, like, when I saw the Daytona tee, I was like, yo.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, man's got the push. Like, and so my family would know who that is, but, like, my family wouldn't necessarily, like, there's other stuff at the same time. It's like, okay, can you name an Ariana Grande song? And I'm like, no. Nah.
Right.
I can tell you about the Locks.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
It's definitely some of that stuff that's just like super local, like only you get or your group, like close group of friends get. So that's definitely that. That's definitely one of those things.
And I think that's the coolest thing about, and Phoenix doesn't really have it. I mean, they kind of do. But that's the cool thing about even me being, I don't like to say I'm from Chicago.
Right.
Because that comes with like, okay, well, what part? And I'm like, no, I was born in Chicago. My family pieced out because my dad was Air Force.
Yeah.
So, like, but my mom's from Oak Park. My dad's from Waukegan. They met in Hoffman Estates. But, like, I remember streets of Woodfield Mall.
Right.
You know, like, we used to go to Lincoln Park Zoo. We used to go to the Bean. Like, we used to do all these things. And I think that's the coolest thing is that, like, you have that connection with somebody when you're like, oh, man, like, that's what happened to me and Jacob.
Right.
Like, first time I'm like, oh, yeah, he's from Chicago. I'm like, oh, yeah, my family's from there. Like, yeah, I know about this and this. Like, example, I'm going to fight to the death that deep dish pizza is the best pizza you can get.
Chicago pizza in general.
Come on, man.
And I was arguing, a guy I coach with out here, he sent me a little thing on Instagram saying that Phoenix had the best pizza, is a pizza capital of the United States. I'm like, ain't no way, because half the good pizza here is Chicago-style pizza. How can you even say that's the best, you know what I mean?
Well, you know what?
Burroughs is Chicago-style pizza.
It is.
Absolutely.
And that is one of the things I like about Phoenix is that there's so many, like if you want, I was talking to my brother about this with fast food. If you want Culver's, there's Culver's. If you want Rallies, there's Rallies. If you want In-N-Out, there's In-N-Out. Five Guys, Shake Shack, like all this food from all parts of the country are here.
They do seem like they do have a lot of restaurants from different regions. Like you think that's just like a Northwest restaurant, but it's
and
here.
then you're like, yo, Dutch Bros is here? And you're like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
like,
there's
a Dutch Bros on the street from Portillo's? You're like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Only in Phoenix does that happen.
I think that is one of the dope parts about it that I do like.
Yeah.
There's a lot that I'm like, listen, guys, you gotta chill on this. But
it definitely took some adjustment. Like I've been down here like 8 years, and I know when I first moved down here, I was like, man, there's no like real Phoenix culture here. You know what I'm saying? Like when you think about Chicago, like I'm not from Chicago, but Chicago area. like you know what Midwest culture is.
Yeah.
But when I first moved here to Phoenix, it was like, man, what do they really kind of have, you know? But as I've been here over the years, and it's been expanding crazy.
Yes.
But you're starting to like get it. Like they got a little hoop scene now with the high school hoops is like on the up and coming.
Low key, like with the Hillcrest, which I still don't know where it is.
Neither do I. It's got to be one of those pop up like prep schools. You know
That's
what I'm
what I'm thinking it is.
But yeah, like they're getting some hoopers out here, and like you can kind of see that, and just the scene of Phoenix is definitely expanding.
Well, and that's what I'm kind of interested in seeing too, is because I wanted to do a street ball tournament out here, and I did it wrong, and I kind of knew I did it wrong. I did a whole podcast on that about betting on yourself, and just like sometimes things don't work out.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about Phoenix is that I think part of it wants to be LA, but I think the biggest part about like not having a culture is like the weather. Right. When it's 120 degrees in the summer, like if you're in LA or if you're in Chicago, like me, I grew up in Hawaii. So like Hawaii in the summer, man, we're outside all day.
Absolutely, that's summertime shy.
Summertime shy is
unrivaled. I don't know if anything is better than summertime Chicago.
Like you wake up. Like for us, it was we woke up, went and shot at the park for a little bit, then went to the beach and like did this and that. Like we weren't coming home till like 9-10 at night, and that's kind of how it was, in Hawaii, just because it's summer and it's endless. It's the whole endless summer, and you're on the beach and all these things.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, maybe 130 degrees is too hot to be outside.
I know you definitely reached out about the basketball tournament, and I tried to plug it as much as I could, but like once people seen it was outside, and it was in the summer, that's when people was kind of just like, kind of iffy on it. But yeah, that's the thing with Phoenix, man. It's kind of opposite. Winters in Phoenix is the time to like be outside and
because this don't feel like winter.
Yeah, nah,
it's like
perfect.
75 degrees right now.
Perfect, perfect. I was teaching outside all day today.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So, okay, outside of 6x6, because you mentioned teaching, you mentioned coaching, what else are you doing out there?
Man, that's it. Right now, I'm just diving into 6x6. It's our busy season. We just did a little food donation to the Cartwright School District. Right now, we're working on a gift exchange, which you helped me with last year. You sponsored the kid, which was dope. We're working with the same group home, so it's Back to Life Inc. It's in Phoenix, in the Maryville area. And what we're doing with this gift exchange is it's one gift that the kid from the group home really wants, one gift that they'll bring to a gift exchange to a white elephant event that we hold with the kids at the group home, and then another one for them to learn and grow, because I think that's a big part of just kind of their development, giving them something, whatever they're interested in. If I remember correctly, I think you got the kid like a computer.
Yeah, that Raspberry Pi is so cool, man.
He was into that, and he loved it, and that's what he was into, but he didn't have the means to get it.
And this is why I love that, not to interrupt you, but the reason why I love that is because I work IT, and it's kind of funny because you could almost say I got my start in IT just from like playing video games. Right. Because you got to figure out the AV cable, and okay, how come this won't work here? And wait a minute, if the power does this, and okay, I see it's that white input, not the yellow input. And then from there it was like, okay, but like how can I do this with my computer? Right. And then when I joined the Army was, how can we do this on these computers? And now it is a career, but it does start very, very young with like, I was talking to a guy I work with, and I told him, like, listen, what got me into computers was playing video games and watching The Matrix for the first time.
Absolutely.
And then now you just like kind of realize how much goes into that. And that's why I was really, really excited when I got him about like, hey, I really want to work on computers. I'm like, dude,
this is it.
We don't realize how close that is to us. Yeah. Like just as a culture, like we don't realize. Put it this way, I saw a guy I really, really look up to as far as podcasting and videos, Justin C. Hunt. He made a article about he made a video about how black people have used technology to push the culture.
Okay.
So like when cell phones were first getting big, you had ringtone rappers, and that's how Soulja Boy
blew crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then when you look a little bit later, because everybody would just buy that ringtone.
Yep.
And then, you look a little bit later on, MySpace blew up, and the blog scene went crazy. And now we got Lupe and Cuddy and all these guys. And then social media, and now, SoundCloud. And you guys just get, City Morgue and Zillakami and Denzel Curry. And you just look, and I'm like, man, we really, we do that.
Yeah, be using that technology. That's crazy. There's a lot of people that got their start that way.
And it's something that you don't really realize until you sit back and you're like, and this is why I started my Black Nerd podcast, Blurred Lines. because I'm on YouTube all the time. I watch YouTube more than I watch like regular TV.
And that's how people are.
Yeah, and
kids are like that. Kids that I teach, they're like, stay on YouTube. You know, that's how you learn everything from there.
And how many times have you seen Us?
Not that much.
There's like, I know maybe 3 people that I'm like King of the Fourth Quarter, who has a dope. He has like dope like NBA 2K stuff. Yeah. And now he's talking basketball. He's a dude from Chicago too. So
dope.
Seeing a Bulls fan happy, I'm like, oh man, we made it, bro.
Yo, Bulls are on top right now.
Yeah, I'm happy.
My phone be going off every time they win. My guys be hitting me up.
I'm happy. And oh man, I bet those Philly-Chicago games are brutal.
Oh man, the group chat goes crazy anytime it's a Philly-Chicago game.
But I'm excited to see, and that this is the kind of cool thing about just when you do meet somebody. The second that Jacob told me, yo, this is my buddy, this is my boy Andre, and this is what he's doing over there.
Right.
I was like, oh shit, I see it.
Yeah.
And when I found out, oh no, he's a teacher too, I'm like, yo, like this is somebody who's actually there, boots on the ground.
Trying to. Well, I think that's dope that we finally got to connect, especially on this podcast, and probably bounce some ideas and put some stuff in the stone. Because I think like between both of us, we can have like an impact. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I definitely went back and listened to a lot of your stuff, and you had a quote from the guy from Tap In. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But it was just talking about sparking that, the next generation basically, and what it was.
It's crazy that you mentioned that because I was thinking about that this morning, and he says, I don't have to be the guy that touches a million people. I want to be the guy that touches the guy that touches a million people.
Exactly. And the one that I go off is Tupac, and it's in my bio. It's in my emails at school. Every time I send it out, it's in my signature. It's I'm not gonna be the one to change the world, but I guarantee I'm gonna spark the brain that changes the world. So Tupac said that. So I'm not saying I'm gonna change the world, but I guarantee I'm gonna spark the brain that will change the world. And that's kind of like what I try to do. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be the one to change everything. But if I can at least like motivate another kid to get into something, whether it's computers or like whatever it is, maybe they're gonna grow up and change the world.
And this is what I was telling a couple people too, is that I feel that black people we learned, I don't want to say the wrong lessons because that's not it. We learned we messed up one of the lessons that we were taught. Like, so obviously Martin Luther King Jr. is a hero, right?
Absolutely.
And he did a lot for the country. But the thing is, he did a lot for his neighborhood in Atlanta, which turned into a lot for Atlanta, which turned into a lot for Georgia, which turned into a lot for the South, which turned into a lot for the country.
Right.
And I feel like sometimes people skip those steps. Where it's like, no, like Nipsey had it right. Like, no, you start on Crenshaw and Slauson.
Yes, sir.
And then you go to LA. And then you go to, you know what I mean?
So those baby steps of
right. And I feel
Absolutely.
like sometimes we skip that step because we're like, and my mom just showed me this the other day. She's like, we are conditioned to celebrate how, what's his name, Jeff Bezos and Steve and Bill Gates and Steve Jobs got their wealth, but we think Jay-Z and Beyonce sold their soul for theirs.
That's deep.
And I was like, yo, we really...
Yeah, that's deep.
Like, we really are. Because I thought about it,
Yeah.
like, yo, we really don't... Like, we really don't think of him like that.
Nah, it was
like,
Illuminati, whatever. And
right,
he did
again.
this to get it, and he...
I rewatched one of those videos. Like, I just got into like a weird 2012 rabbit hole, and I was like,
"Oh yeah, you're in a wormhole."
Yeah, I was like, "Man, you remember when we thought that?" Yeah, I was like, "You remember when we thought that Jay-Z was like the Emperor of Space?" Because I, you know what it was? My mom, she's been like listening to a lot of newer music.
Right.
Not newer, like she's been catching up. She had 3 kids, so it was a lot of like just raising your kids first, and now we're all grown, so she's like catching up on stuff. And I do an article every year. It's an award show. I call it the Starvies.
Okay.
And one of the segments is the best new artist to my mom. And so last year's was Jay-Z because she had never. She had never. I think the year before was like Lil Wayne, something like that. Because she was catching up.
Right.
My mom's 50 years old, man. So like she's catching up. And
right.
And so she's like, Braven, I found the song. It goes dun 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 on to the next one. And right when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, they used to say that was like an Illuminati song. Right. And like.
Deep in the wormhole.
And so I looked it up again, and I was like, yo, that video is still not on YouTube. I'm like, yo, maybe the Illuminati did take it down.
Man, crazy. But no, that's a good point you made, man. We don't really think about that, man. We'd be quick to kind of discredit, some of our people when they do make the come up or whatever it is.
And I think authenticity is key, and that's something. You know what? I should have started with this. Rest in peace, Virgil Abloh, bro.
Man, that was a big one. I was at the swoosh when that happened too.
Like,
and it was just like
I
crazy.
didn't look at my phone because I was hanging out with my brother, and so I didn't look at my phone. And then I was just happened to like be going through some stuff, and on Clubhouse it said R.I.P. Virgil, and I was like, R.I.P. Virgil.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, maybe it's something about, because you know how the internet is. I'm like, yo, maybe it's like his Louis deal went through, or didn't
whatever
go through.
it is, yeah.
And then I'm on Instagram, and it's like, no, he passed.
No, that was a bomb. That definitely was a bomb.
And
culture.
I'm working on an article about it right now, because I didn't want to do like the quick little, oh, yo, R.I.P. I didn't want to do that. But he was that dude, and maybe you can give a little bit more insight to this, but I grew up in Hawaii around surfers and skaters. I played basketball growing up. I grew up on military bases. So for me personally, I knew about, we knew about Supreme. We knew about, all these different things as like skate brands.
Right.
Thrasher before everybody started wearing it, Vans, same thing. And when I looked at Virgil, I was like, just on my Instagram, I'm like, the skaters loved him. The surfers loved him. The punks loved him. The rappers loved him. Yeah. And I was like, how do you get to that point and stay that authentic?
I don't know, man. He was definitely a special dude. Like, I had to go back and do my research. I didn't even know he was from Rockford. He's from Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, yo. But then, like, you just really seen the love, like, from the celebrities posting and just, like, how inspirational he was. And he was just, like, really just a genuine dude. Like,
and from all over, too. Like, the Louis guys loved him.
Yeah.
Like, the high fashion guys loved him. And then, like, also you were seeing, like, Benny the Butcher was, like, yo, that dude was like real. He was one of us. And this skate team that actually is like the first skateboard club in Ghana. Like, he reached out to them and he did a video with them. I'm like
who? Like, how do you?
What?
Yeah. Nah, he was a special dude, man. I'm still kind of diving in and looking at his story because it's definitely inspiring, man. Like, super humble and like, did everything his way, authentic, like you said. Like, he didn't really sell out for nothing. Just a real
Which
dude.
is wild because when you get, and this is what you were saying about assuming, we assume that when you get to modeling for Louis, it's like, okay, but what'd you do?
Right.
Did you stop doing this? Did you stop doing this? Oh, it's only because you got straight hair. It's all because you also because you light skin. It's like, why do we assume that?
I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's crazy how we tear each other down like that.
Do you think we realize that we do it?
No, I think it's just so natural, man. Like, and I have to call my kids out on it all the time at school. Like, every time we play something, it's always, somebody cheated. That's why they won. Or like, it's never like, yo, you lost. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were the better person, you lost. It's always like, something had to happen. They cheated, or I wasn't really trying. Or I think it's just like a natural thing where we're just like, that's our first like notion to kind of discredit.
I'm coaching middle school basketball. I coach in Tempe also. I love
That's my favorite age group to coach.
It's so weird because like you've got kids that you look at them, you're like, yo, you might. I'm not sure. I don't want to say that you're going to the NBA at 12, but you're playing college if you don't do nothing crazy. And then like you just see someone do a crazy movie, and you're like, yo. And then like 2 days later, he'll be like, hey, coach, I left my shorts at home. Do I have to wear those for the game? And you're like,
yo,
you're still 11, man.
Yeah, that's by far my favorite like age group to coach. Like, I've done girls and boys at middle school level, and it's just they're still young enough where they want to learn the game. You can still teach them like good habits and all that. But then they're getting like very skillful.
Yeah.
Very skillful in middle school, especially now like with YouTube and just the access of Instagram. Like, you can find anything.
That's what I had to teach them against was like. And I get it because, so I'm 27, and when I was playing ball, you didn't know who someone was in high school unless they were LeBron.
Facts.
And then when I got a little bit older, when I was in high school, we heard about John Wall.
Yeah.
Because that's when Ball's life started taking off. So we knew about John Wall. Who else? What's that dude's name? Akil Carr. Akil Carr's highlight.
B Moore's finest.
Yo.
The Crime Stopper, I think they called him, because when he played, all the crime in Baltimore stopped because everybody was at the game.
Akil Carr.
His mixtapes were insane. At like 5'6" or whatever.
Yeah, right.
5'7".
Akil Carr and what's the dude's name? Frank Nitti are the two dudes from the Drew League. I'm looking at him like, yo, if you were 6'2", you'd be a monster in the league.
Lee. I mean, Liddy was already on the way.
Which is like, it sucks because like you're a monster already, but like if they looked at you and they just looked at game instead of looking at height.
Yeah.
Like man, if Akil Carr was 6'1", good God. Like,
man, he was a problem. Like athleticism, he had it. He had the speed. He had the ball on a rope.
Yeah.
Yo-yo.
Yeah.
Could shoot it. Yeah, he was definitely a problem. It was probably just the height and, coming from where he was coming from.
But a lot of the kids, they look at that and they see kids that, like, we know who Bronny is.
Yeah.
We know who Zion is. We know, what's that dude's name? Mikey Williams. We know Amani Bates.
Right.
We know who all those kids are at, like, 13 now.
Early.
Which I think is a little bit too young.
I think so, too. I was just scrolling on at lunch on Instagram, and it was ranking some kid, and he was in the class of, it was 2028.
Come on.
And I'm like, how are you ranking these kids? Like, you don't know who's going to hit a growth spurt. Like, he might get to high school and just be done, be burnt out from basketball. But, yeah, youth sports starts, like, ranking systems is super, super, super early.
And it's funny that you talk about the growth spurt because I reconnected. He was my best friend when I was in Hawaii. His name is Carl Lane.
Okay.
The coolest dude I knew in Hawaii. We used to listen to Outkast and play NFL Street 2, which is the most 2004 thing you can do.
That's the life.
So all we would do is like go hoop and come back in, and we didn't have like 7-Elevens or anything on base. It was the shop at.
Yeah.
So we go to the shop at, get some food, come back, and just be playing 2K or not 2K. 2K wasn't even anything at the time. We'd be playing NBA Live and NBA Street. And we were the same height in like 5th, 6th grade. He moved, I moved, and I just happened to find him on Instagram again. I was like, yo, what's good, bro? Like,
right.
Dog, my man's a 6'11".
Sprouted.
And I'm 6'3". I'm like, this is bullshit, bro.
Right. Just kept growing. Yeah, that happens, man. That happens.
I was so mad when I saw that. I was so mad. He's like out there. He's like, hey, he can play though.
He still hoops?
He can play though.
That's good.
Yeah, I can't really talk about a lot of it because apparently there might be some like really, really dope shit happening in the future.
That's good.
But from what I've seen, I think he hooped overseas. If he's listening to this, he'll probably text me like, yo, bro.
Like, give you the update.
Yeah, but I think he hooped overseas. But yo, I don't want to say KD because obviously he's not.
I feel like that's everybody that's tall, lanky with handles. You're like, oh,
that's exactly who he is though.
Yeah, that's
tall, lanky with handles.
Yeah. That's the bill. If it was 2K,
I found a scouting report because me and my buddy were talking about Greg Oden, and they said that Greg Oden was a once in a lifetime big man, which he probably would have been, to be honest. And they said that KD would have been a mixture between Garnett and Tracy McGrady. And I was like, that's not a bad comparison.
No, it's not. He's definitely Tracy.
I see it now. Like the more I see it, I'm like, oh shit, man, they were right.
He's just a certified bucket. Like it's crazy watching KD.
Okay, so we'll get into the hip hop tip later, but I don't do my greatest players of all time because I feel like I'm 27. I saw Jordan play once and I was like 2 years old.
Right.
Who are your top 5 players you've ever seen?
Seen play?
Like that you actually watched like as a kid. Like you didn't.
I caught the end of Jordan. The end of the 3-point Pete. So I definitely got to put him up there. I'm a Iverson fanatic, so I definitely got to put him up there. Wasn't a Kobe fan. Just because the hype that was around Kobe, but I always respected his game, so he's got to be up there too. So that would probably be my top 3. After that, I mean, KD's up there with me. Wade, another city kid. LeBron, of course.
See, that's how I knew Mans was from Chicago. Was when he put LeBron at like 6.
Yeah,
because we still hate LeBron.
Still, man, like it just be so hard. Like I hate like anybody that people are just like riding so hard. Like, yes, LeBron's great, I get it, but like it's like LeBron can't do no wrong.
LeBron's weird because first, like when they're like, oh, he's gonna be the next Jordan, I was like,
that's a reach.
Wouldn't that be Kobe?
Game for game, yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like game for game,
yes.
it's Kobe.
I mean, let's be clear. Like LeBron is definitely he's up there. Like I don't know if he'll ever be my 1, but he might be. Like
he's Magic Pippen to me.
He might be 1B for me. I don't know if anybody's passing Jordan. I give him all the respect because to come in with all the hype that was surrounding him, and he actually like lived up to it.
He never got in trouble. Think about that. My man has never gotten in trouble.
I mean, maybe that little dust up scuffle, like last.
Shout out to Isaiah Stewart for like Man, my man was with it.
Nah, he blacked out, yo. I think what happened is he was cool, and then when you just like see your blood and you taste your blood and you just go to a whole nother level. I was like, yo, this guy is like. I'm just glad they kept him in the league, man, because I seen him go after the King, and I was like, yo, they about to let this kid go. I thought he was gonna be released that night, like.
If he played for any other team but Detroit, he would have
been
straight up. Like, it's like, yo, we had the bad boys.
Yo, he would have been in.
Like, yo, we used to beat
China,
up Jordan.
Yeah, he would have been in China playing or something. I thought they was gonna let that kid go.
If he played for Sacramento, they would have.
Oh, he would have been out.
Nah, you're out, bro.
He would have been out.
And I was watching the Kings game. They actually looked pretty good.
Kings they just fired their coach too.
Yeah, now that they fired him, like I was looking at him. Like,
Gentry's a good coach. I don't know. He's Gentry would be that like middle coach, that transitional coach,
which I think is super unfair.
Probably, but that's how it is.
It is.
I don't know if he's a championship coach or he's gonna get them to the promised land, but I think he's definitely gonna get those young boys like the right habits. Teach them how to be pros. Because I don't know if they've ever really had that. Luke Walton was maybe 10 years older than him.
How is he coaching this long?
I don't know, man. It's got to be.
He's never proven
he honestly didn't. Like, maybe they gave him a little bump because he filled in for Kerr a couple months when Kerr was out. But, I mean, you're coaching the Warriors. I could have went out there and, do some little X's and O's. And,
my homeboy, he used to say stuff like that. And I tried to shoot some bail. Like, no, man. Like, you still got to manage egos. And my buddy's like, yo, look at this team and tell me where the ego is. He's like, yo, you think Curry's out here like demanding the ball? No.
Nah. I mean, you got to manage probably Draymond and KD. If that was.
If that. It's like, it is kind of like, those teams were like, if you play 2K, you just hit on everything.
Everything. Put the sliders up.
You just like, and this is the funny thing too, is that everyone, I never really hated the Warriors dynasty because first of all, it's 2 years.
Yeah.
They won 2 chips. And second of all, like, they built everything.
Truthfully, through the draft.
Like,
they hit some home runs.
Like 4 times.
Yeah. Like good pieces and then free agency too. Like picking up Andre Iguodala was like perfect fit. Sean Livingston. As I continue to name,
Illinois boy.
As I continue to name Midwest Hoopers because Midwest Hoopers.
And like even like Steve Kerr was like, he played for the Bulls. I'm like, yo, are we just Warriors fans now? Is this it? Like,
right.
I always really loved that they built like that because that's kind of, and this is my issue with the whole small market team thing. My brother's a Spurs fan. My brothers were born in Texas. Okay. So one of my brothers is a Spurs fan. Because I was like, do you want, I think the argument was like, how come you're a Cowboys fan but you're not a Mavericks fan? He's like, because the Mavericks jerseys look stupid. And they don't have Tim Duncan and David Robinson. I'm like, it's a good enough reason for me.
Say no more.
That's
valid.
I've definitely chosen teams. I'm like, that jersey's kind of trash. Never mind.
I mean, depending when you hop on the bandwagon too. When you became a fan, like the Spurs were locking it down, like the late '90s.
So my brother's 20. He was born in '98.
Oh, so he
was there.
He was there. They got their first one in maybe 01, maybe? No, the Lakers had
and even later, that was like a 05. Oh, no, 05, 06? Maybe like 07, 08 was another one. So, yeah, that's who, like, he was like, oh, okay, cool. And it's, I don't want to say it's easy. It's very simple for a small market team to do well. You have to hit on the draft. You're not going to get free agents.
No.
Like, Kyrie's not going to play for Salt Lake City.
Not going to happen.
Just not going to. So you hit on the draft, which, again, Utah has with Gobert. And then Mitchell. Your free agency should be guys like, and I fuck with them, Mike Conley.
Yeah.
Jordan Clarkson. And that's how you build up build up those small market teams. And this is the funny thing, and see, this is how I know I'm good at podcasting, going all the way back to Phoenix. Phoenix is not a large market. It's a large market, but, like, it's not a big city.
No.
You're not going to... So you build from the ground up here. And that's what I thought was the dopest thing about what you were doing was that, like, you were building from the ground up with 6x6, with 6x6.
Trying to, yep.
Like, it's not... Like, you're doing it in a way that's, like, we're going to affect the neighborhood. And then after the neighborhood, then we'll figure out, what happens after that. Just... for meeting connections. And with what I'm trying to do with Starving Artists is like I see it as, I'm not sure if I've ever really explained this like publicly. I see it as a college coach.
Okay.
Like, I want to give artists a chance to get better. And, like, I hope you go get signed by Sony. You know, like, if I find a musician, I hope he gets picked up by, like, TDE. You know, I hope that somebody goes and gets him in. But the thing is, like, you came up in this circuit.
Right.
Like, I gave you an opportunity. And it's really exciting because being on the internet kind of changed things. Like, I just found this crazy writer. She's a freshman at UT Austin in Texas.
Okay.
And I think I saw her work on like Instagram or on like Twitter or something like that, or Reddit or something like that. And I was like, yo, she can write. Like, she can really, really write. I'm like, hey, do you want to write, you know, for the website? Like, hey, I pay. Because you got to pay your artists.
Right, you got to.
Hey, pay your artists.
As you should. As you
tip
should.
your tattoo artists.
All that.
I messed up the first time I got a tattoo. I didn't tip them. And my friend's like, hey, did you tip them? And I was like, no. Was I supposed to? And she's like, yeah, dude. I was like, oh,
definitely.
my bad.
Any of those crafts, like, you definitely want to pay them for their work.
I don't think people, well, and this is the funny thing too, I don't think people realize how important art is, because we call it, and I just had a conversation with somebody about this at work, especially when you look at black people in America. Like, they say, oh, they're rappers, they're athletes, and that's all they do. Well, okay, let's take that, let's look a few steps back. That's music, that's art, that's sports.
Right.
That's culture.
Entertainment, culture.
That's culture. Like, we do culture.
Absolutely.
And, you know what I mean? And so, like, when you look at how many things, like, black people in America have done.
Contributed.
Like, hey guys, you guys like rock and roll? That was us.
It's a lot. It's a long list. Run your Googles. It's a super long list. Super long list.
And that's what I'm excited about too, is I think people are, me and my mom had a conversation. So I'm mixed. My dad's white, my mom's black. And my mom met my dad in the suburbs. And my mom was like, man, I really, really wonder why we moved to the suburbs. And I was talking to her, and like I said, my mom's 52, I think.
Okay.
And she came up in the 80s. And so I was like, Mom, look at like the Jeffersons. Like, you're moving on up to the east side, you know, all these things. I'm like, getting out and getting away was seen as like status.
Yeah.
Like,
that's an upgrade. Like, that's, you up there now. And
now I think our generation's kind of seen it as like, no, let's build up where we at.
Yeah.
Like, why are we leaving home? You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm very interested in seeing when you do find your home. There's, I mean, maybe Chicago, maybe New York, maybe LA's not home. Maybe it is.
Right. Yeah.
You know, maybe you find out that like, no, but this is where I'm supposed to be. And that's kind of what I see in when people come here and they like really start building here. Is like, hey, we're going to make this spot cool. I'm sure that you could find kids in Chicago. Well, I think half your team's in Chicago, right?
Yeah. So we do split what we do with 6x6 between Chicago area and like Phoenix area.
Okay.
So like 2 of us are here now in Phoenix, and then the other 4 are back in Chicagoland. So we kind of bounce back and forth. It really, like, when 6x6 first started, like the 6x6 was the 6 of us. We've all been friends since high school.
Cool.
And we started as we wanted to mentor like 6 other young men through high school. So one-on-one mentoring, kind of help them through their freshman year, give them guidance all the way through high school, and kind of in hopes that they would build some type of bond with each other the same way we did. And then it kind of 6 times 6 kind of multiplies each year. We kind of get 6 more kids. But when we started this, it was like the middle of COVID, like lockdown.
Oh,
like,
wow. Really?
Yeah. And it just came from like a couple phone calls, like, you know, Black Lives Matter stuff was going. I mean, the world was just like twisting and turning.
We're never gonna see that again.
Man, it was just like what a time, like crazy. But yeah, it just came from a couple conversations, and like just like the homegrown idea. It was like, you know, you think like when you start a foundation or you do these great things, you got to have a lot of money and you got to have a lot of people backing you. But I think the power of it is like we're 6 regular people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But my story is relatable to somebody else in my position. You know, and my boy Lionel, his story is relatable. My boy Richard, his story is relatable to somebody in his position. So there's power in just being common people. You know, because they can relate to us more than, honestly, than you relate to a celebrity.
Right.
So that's what we kind of went off with, but then COVID kind of got in the way, and it was kind of hard to like figure out how we're going to mentor when we're not even supposed to be seeing these people, and like, you know, it was just weird. So then we were like, okay, we'll just focus on like uplifting the community, you know? So then we just started doing like backpack drives and food drives, gift exchanges. When students were online, we paid for internet, for families so their kids can still go to school. And we just started kind of doing that. And it's kind of just like morphed in, into what it is now, where we're just doing like whatever we think of, to uplift the community. You called me with the idea about raffling the tickets, and it's like, all right, bet, let's do it. If it's going to help the community. And the crazy thing about that is, I actually bought my own tickets to go to the game because I took my nephew. And the people that won the tickets that we raffled off was one of my former students.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So then, I seen them at the game, and that was dope. And then as I'm walking out, somebody's, stopping me, and it's another one of my former students that's working at the game, working cool. Security. Yeah, so just to get that full circle moment was super dope out of that.
Because they see you now. You're here.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
You never want to be that person that's just like out and like, oh man, where's Andres at? Where's Ray at?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I exist.
I'm here.
Right.
I'm here. And they see me, and I try to be in the community as much as possible. Like, even when I was coaching this past year, I was coaching my nephew's park district team, and I could have came over to a nicer area and took him to a nicer area, but I was like, no, we're going to go right back to Maryville, right where I teach at, and that's where that's where I'm going to put my services at. So yeah, that's what it's just kind of turned into. We just do like whoever has ideas about uplifting the community at this moment, like we're like, all right, let's do it. Let's rock with it.
Have you been to like your First Fridays yet?
I have. I haven't been there in a while, but I definitely want to get back up there and network. I think that's probably where I lack the most, and I'm still trying to figure it out. Like I don't even know what I'm doing, to be honest. I'm just like, just rocking with it. But I think like, if I want to say a Kanye line, I think that's like my superpower. I definitely copy and steal from like everybody, take pieces from everybody, and I kind of just like figure it out. So yeah, we're just figuring it out on the way. But I do want to get up to First Friday and like, network with people a little bit more and talk to people and see who I can work with.
That's what I've been doing recently, and there's some dope stuff that it's almost like black people really like show out for First Friday downtown. Like I went to and actually I'll shoot you a text because I'm going to watch the fights this weekend at Golden Margarita.
Dope.
Which is like right across the way. It's a good fight this week too. I think it's Tank Davis. I think it's Gervonta Davis fight.
Oh wow.
Yeah. See now you thinking about
sparked my interest a little bit.
But they show boxing there, and it was the one place I've ever been where like it's mostly black people there.
Yeah.
Even security, even like the wait staff. I'm like, yo, okay, cool. Like this is the first time in Phoenix I've seen like mostly black people
without
here.
going all the way to the south side.
Yeah, exactly. And I met this dude. I think I'm actually going to talk to him soon. Freshco, who is doing like a lot of socially conscious clothes. Like he's got this one. It's a painting of a dude. And it's like a really stylized, almost like a Picasso kind of thing. Okay. And it says, "Mama, I can't breathe." And I was like, "Yo, that's so killer. That's hard. Yeah. Like that's insane, dude." And like I think I'm actually chopping up with him soon on this same show. I gotta look at my schedule. Yeah. There's a dude that I just met, Zay Season, and he's rapping out there and he's doing his thing, and I'm just like, and this is the thing that I miss the most about being in the city, is that my man just came out there with a speaker and a mic and just started going. Like I was like, see, that's that shit, bro.
Get your bars off.
Yeah, man, do your thing. And like just seeing stuff like that where you can do it here, and that's one of the reasons why I do kind of stay in Phoenix is because I'm like, you can do the art here. It is possible.
Absolutely.
You can do it because what inspired me, a friend of mine from high school. I went to high school in Boulder Creek, which is how do I say this? It was a richer area until the recession. And then we slid in there with my dad. Right. That house is like, they're talking like $400,000 now. Wow. And my parents slid into it for like $180,000. I was like, hey!
Y'all won.
Yeah, so like,
that was Jefferson's moment.
Yeah, he was at the end of his career in the military. So like, my parents were like, hey, if we're at the end of our career, let's be out here. This is like 10, 15 years ago now. Yeah. And so, like, that's kind of, where I was at. And it was very interesting because I went from a military base where my best friend, besides Carl, who's half black, he's black, Filipino, Samoan, and I think one more thing. Okay. And then my buddy Pierre was black and Japanese. And you see those mixes on military bases all the time. It was weirder when people weren't mixed. Right. Like all my friends growing up were mixed. And we had, there's the Mexican Filipino dude, and there was, like, dude, like, oh, hey, what are you? Oh, I'm half Laotian, half black. And I'm like, what's Laotian? Right. And he's like, oh no, like you know where Vietnam is? Like, yeah, it's like it's right next to that. Like,
that's the
all right, cool,
that's
whatever.
The pot for real.
Yeah, you know that. So that's why I kind of grew up on the military bases, and then here, it's like swastikas were tagged when Obama was elected president.
Right.
That's a crazy freshman year, man.
Yeah, no, I believe it, man.
And
this
so,
is the last state to recognize Martin Luther King Day.
Hey, if Public Enemy writes a song about your state, you might have some issues there. Even though by the time I get there, Arizona's hard.
Right.
But it was a culture shock for me. And somebody that I met there that I was going to school with, she went to USC to study film.
Okay.
And I called her up one day, just again on Instagram. I happened to see her. I love when dogs are happy.
No, she's like, and she's showing out too because let's be honest, she hasn't touched that toy in forever. Forever.
Yeah, you know I got dogs, huh? Yeah, you know. But she went to LA and I called her up one day. I was like, yeah, see, you know I got dogs, huh? Yeah, I already know. But I was like, hey, can you do like, how come you didn't stay in Phoenix and do this?
Yeah.
And she's like, you can't make movies in Phoenix. I was like, nah, you can. She's like, listen, you got to go to LA because you have to. She's
for
like,
the resources? Or
pretty much, yeah. She's like, USC's out here, you know, UCLA's out here, it's Hollywood, you know, even if they don't really film stuff here like that anymore, that's where the network is.
Right.
And I kind of thought about that and I was like, yeah, but the internet exists. Like, what do you mean?
People make it from anywhere now.
And maybe with movies, there's too much of the Hollywood structure to like really, you know, break into it because you hear guys moving to LA all the time after a couple movies. So maybe it is, you know, you actually do have to kind of go out there. All the studios are out there, stuff like that. But with music specifically, it's like Lil Nas X blew up over let's be real, a joke song. Some kid from Atlanta makes a joke of a cowboy song.
And now he's
arguably the biggest star in hip hop.
I mean, he's up for Song of the Year, I think.
Like
at the Grammys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think music might be a little easier to tap in that way, just because it's more just like the sound, you know, and like you can get out with those SoundCloud and all that stuff. But movies might be a little more tougher. But I definitely like the idea of being like homegrown, you know, doing it where you're at, and I think you can do it. It's going to be a little more hurdles, but you can do it.
You can. And I wanted to do something here just because I went to high school here. And, like, you know, I do know a lot of people here. And I want to do something back home in Hawaii because that's where I really came up. Right. Was, you know, in Hawaii. I lived in other places, too. Like, I lived in Northern California. I lived in West Texas. Yo, I lived in the... Everyone's like, oh, West Texas. Like, you know, like Dallas? I'm like, that's East Texas, my guy. Yeah. Like, okay, so we're in West Texas. I'm like, you ever seen Friday Night Lights? They're like, yeah. Yeah, about an hour south of that. We live down the street from a slaughterhouse. Oh, looking back, I'm like, what the hell were we doing there?
In the middle of nowhere.
Why is there a military base
here? Yeah, like, in the middle of nowhere.
But, I mean, and that's the cool thing is that, like, you know, just, and my mom said it, you know, bloom where you're planted. You know, and we, you know, and if you listen to a lot of Tupac or you watched a lot of Derrick Rose commercials, it was the rose that grew from concrete. Yeah. Who, you know, he got his money's worth out of that. Man, he was still getting them Adidas checks. It's, you know how dope you got to be to make people want to wear Adidas.
And he got a deal too. He gets a signature shoe every year he plays. Every year. I didn't know it was every year. Every year he plays. He's probably on like the Rose 11 right now or something. 10. I don't know if they release him, but he gets a signature shoe every year.
That's cool. Yeah. Especially considering how they did him with the first couple shoes.
Trying to think back.
Apparently they rushed out the prototypes. That's what they say.
Okay.
Because that's why he messed up his knee the first time, and then he didn't heal correctly. He didn't work both knees. Apparently, that's the story that I always heard. Was that so he injured the other one because he overcompensated, which
usually happens.
Yeah, that sounds pretty legitimate.
Yeah. But I think Rose was probably the first big athlete they had since T-Mac on Adidas. I mean, they had T-Mac and then they had like the KGs.
I always thought it was weird that Jordan never went after him or Wade.
Yeah. Well, Wade was Team Jordan for a while.
Oh, and then he left after like a
contract. He left.
Because I remember he was with Converse for a while.
Yeah, he was with Converse and he was with Jordan. And when he went to Jordan, he thought he was going to be the main guy. He thought like Jordan Brand was going to be around.
He probably should have been.
Probably, yeah. But then they got, you know, Melo, CP3.
Hey, listen, I fuck with Melo. And
I mean, those aren't bad. Like,
people hate me when I say this, but you're a hooper, so you probably understand. Hey, Chris Paul as a person, I think, is incredible. He does a lot for the black community. He's doing a lot for HBCUs. I really, I think he's like the head of the union.
Yeah, the Players Association.
Yeah, so like,
or he might have just stepped down, but he was up there for a while. He got them through the lockout, the pandemic, like all that.
Dude, like I respect him a lot. Chris Paul's a player. Fuck that guy.
I cannot with the Chris Paul slander.
I was so mad.
You and Jacob with the Chris Paul slander is so ridiculous.
Mad. When I was watching the game, he was playing either with or against Oklahoma City. And he was like, yo, his jersey's not tucked in. That's a delayed game and technical foul. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That's definitely who he is, though. Chris Paul on the court.
Serious?
I heard he's an asshole on the court, to be honest. Like, and he does, and he does a lot of sneak stuff.
He's
definitely the one that's gonna jab you in the rim.
Yeah,
man. But I mean, you can't deny his greatness.
Like Chris Paul's a person.
That's
I respect the hell out of him. Chris Paul's a player. No.
Yeah, Jacob says the same thing. He hates Chris Paul, but
this is what I mean. If you're playing at the park and Chris Paul does something like that, you're fighting.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely not going at the park. It's definitely not going at the park. Nah.
I wonder who that all-park team is. Like, Melo's got to be on the all-park team.
Oh, my all-park team would be like
Iverson for sure.
No, Thugs and Buckets. I'm getting Iverson.
Thugs and Buckets.
Thugs and Buckets.
That's the title of this episode.
It's a winner, it's a fight. It's a winner, it's a fight. Got to get KG on there. You know what I mean? I'm going with like Zach Randolph. You know, I'm going with just Thugs and Buckets.
Part of me misses that. This is why I love Russ so much. Is because like, yo, Russ is the most like. I didn't realize this. I was playing 2K22 and I basically built Russ with like a slightly better shot.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, man, I'm a point guard. And all I do is drive and assist, and that's it.
And that's it. Drive and kick.
But when he was in Utah where he told that dude he was gonna beat him and his wife up.
Oh yeah.
And like my favorite part about that whole story is that the NBA slipped him that $25,000 fine, which was basically like, dog,
you gotta chill out.
You can't say
that. You gotta chill out.
Like, we know, but like you can't say you're gonna beat somebody and their wife up.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta chill. Utah's a crazy place to play, I heard though. Everybody hates Utah. It's crazy stuff that happens. And
imagine people hating Utah more than Boston. You know how much how much you really like.
I heard the Boston Garden's a crazy place to play too.
I'm good.
Like, from a fan standpoint. Nah, I haven't.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I've been one time. I'm like,
all right, I'm across.
I'm straight.
I'm across. Same group of.
Check it out, like, because you got people in Philly and you got people in New York, right?
No, just Philly, but yeah.
If you're gonna go up, like, check it out, but like.
I ain't gonna waste my time, man.
Actually, yo, there's a dope group. I just discovered them a little bit ago. They're called Van Buren Records.
Okay.
And they're from Brockton, Massachusetts. Which is wild because, like, when I first heard them, I thought, like, it's like, I think it's like 9 guys. And they all sound completely different. But they just kind of, it's funny because, like, it's almost like you're listening to, like, not like A$AP Mob, because A$AP Mob is a little bit more cohesive. But it's almost like you're listening to, like, if you were listening to like a sampler album, you know, like when they used to make mixtapes like that, and it was just like, yo, there's the dude from this label.
Right.
Like, it's almost like if you listen to that, but no one told them they were all in the same song.
And it was just like,
because like there's one dude whose voice is like this and his flow is, and I'm like, okay, cool. And there's another dude whose flow is like super smooth, and I'm like, y'all know you're on the same song,
right?
Like,
interesting.
But I mean, that's the cool thing too about Homegrown is like they'll probably eventually do something in LA or something like that, like Brockhampton. They moved to LA after a while, but like, no, these guys are Massachusetts
and
like,
rap it.
They wear Celtics gear, and I'm like, y'all wear Celtics gear? I didn't know anyone wore Celtics gear.
Do it, man. I love the Homegrown like underdog story. That's life to me.
Yeah, I do. I'm excited because I think more people are realizing that.
Yeah.
I think more people are like, yo, why would I leave?
When I can do it here.
Yeah, like what am I gonna do? Like, and that's the kind of interesting thing. Like, I was talking to somebody, but like Drake's kid, or not Drake. Well, I mean, kind of Drake, but LeBron's kids are never gonna know Akron.
Not the way he did.
No. Like they're from Calabasas.
Yeah.
Like Sierra Canyon's a private school. I don't think that hits people. Like Lonzo Ball, he's not. I didn't really. No disrespect to Lonzo Ball, especially after this season. But I was in LA and I was driving back and I drove through Chino Hills.
Yeah.
It was like an hour outside of LA, up in the hills, and I was like, oh,
this is where they're.
Yeah, which shout out to LeVar.
Putting them in a position like that. I don't think he gets enough props now. Like,
I used to not like LeVar, and then when I started coaching, I realized who he is. And I know you have an image in your head once I start describing him. You know that black dad who shows up in all Nike gear with the Nike Tech hat and the Nike shirt and then towel hanging out of his back pocket.
Oh, absolutely.
And the tucked in Nike shorts.
You almost think he's the security for the joint.
And he's going crazy every time his kid touches the ball.
Oh,
that's LeVar. That's LeVar right there.
Hey, man. You was talking about betting on yourself. He definitely did that. He tripled down that bet on himself.
LiAngelo needs a shot, man. Just what do you got to lose if you're the Hornets?
You really, I mean, they're 4 or 5 in the East right now.
Sure, but it's November.
I think his problem is where a lot of kids fall into is his skill set does not fit his size.
How tall is he?
He's got to be like 6'4", 6'5".
Oh, I thought he was like 6'7", 6'8".
Nah, I don't think he's that. I don't think he's that big.
Yeah,
he can flat out shoot it, but he doesn't have the bop.
I thought he was like a mellow build.
He doesn't have the bop. He doesn't have the handle. You know what I mean?
Oh, my man's is Kyle Korver.
Yeah, that's it. And I don't think he's Kyle Korver's size. Kyle Korver's probably 6'7".
That's true.
You know?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I don't think he's that big.
I don't know where you put it. Well,
that's what I'm saying. He falls in that weird like D League, G League.
I don't know where you'd put him on a team like Charlotte because he sounds perfect for LA.
If you needed a flat out shooter.
Yeah, he sounds perfect.
I know. I want to see him, and that's one thing about those Ball brothers. They sell. We went to Summer League, and wherever the Hornets were playing, packed, just to see him play.
How was Summer League? I'm thinking about going to that.
Man, I've been on a little tradition of going every year. It's a good time.
Because it's like $100, but it's for like every game.
Yeah, you when you get your tickets, you get to go back and forth between both stadiums, and it's all day. You know, and then of course it's Vegas, so you know you're on the strip. You see everybody.
I saw D'Angelo Russell one time, and whoever told the NBA that he's 6'3" lied because I'm 6'3", and I was like, "Yo, that's D'Angelo Russell."
Yeah,
my man's just like 6'6".
He's a big guard too. Yeah,
I've heard that about Russ too. Is that he's not 6'3", he's like 6'5", 6'6".
I believe it. I'm a Russell Westbrook fan. Like I definitely, and he gets a lot of heat, but like I love his game. Like he just plays hard, like 110%. That's him. You know?
I wanted him to play with Jimmy Butler so bad, bro.
That might be toxic.
That's the most violent team.
Yo, that might be toxic, yo.
Buckets.
I don't even
You're
know how that would
talking
work.
about buckets, bro.
Jimmy's so headstrong too. I think that's why he's perfect. I was sick when I tell you when he left the Sixers, but I get it. Because he's a Miami Heat player. Like, he fits the build. He fits the mindset. You know, he really wanted his own team and, you know, didn't want to share it with Simmons.
Man, you were mad when he left the Sixers. How do you think I felt when he was out of the Bulls?
Oh, man, that one hurt, too.
At least we got Levine for him, who's nice now. Like, before we were like, the dunk contest dude? But it's like, nah.
I think he's...
And I was like, the T-Mac dude? Like,
I'm telling you, I think Minnesota is just a black hole for talent. I think so.
Why.
I don't know. It's ownership.
KG...
Towns is rotting away. Towns is a talent, you know. Love had his best years there, but
damn, that's actually a really good team, like low key. When you think about it. Like,
I think you know ownership with some of those teams is a big one. You know, when they don't want to spend the money, when they don't want to invest into the team.
Because it's not like they don't have a hoops culture there.
Minnesota is on the rise. They had started with Tyus Jones. Then they had his little brother. Then
who's that dude that they get Chet Holmgren?
Gary Trent Jr. came from Apple Valley. Yup. Shout out to my boy Mike Davis from Apple Valley, Minnesota. The kid number 1 to Gonzaga.
Yeah.
And then plays for Orlando now. Suggs.
Oh, he's from Minnesota?
Yep. So Minnesota hoops is on the rise. But, you know.
I think that's the tough thing too, is that you see these cats that come here. Well, that start wherever, and like you kind of see in Chicago with Io, who, man, I'm so glad he got drafted to the Bulls.
Yeah, that's a feel good story too.
I mean, that dude, he from Chicago, played at Illinois. Could he have gone to like a Duke or Indiana? Probably, but like, no, he played at Illinois. like D Brown status.
That was my team, the fighting the lineup.
Yeah, D Brown and Darren Williams.
Luther Head.
Yeah, oh my God.
That 3-guard lineup was sick. Yeah.
Yeah, ahead of his time now that I think about it.
For sure. A little bit.
Yeah.
Especially playing two small guards. Yeah.
Darren Williams never really had a shot, which kind of sucks.
Darren Williams was a dog too.
Yeah, because like you put him in Utah with Andre Karolinko, and
he had his years. He had even in New Jersey, like he had a couple good years.
He did. I think people thought he was gonna be Chris Paul.
Yeah,
that's my issue with the whole comparison thing. Like, it's one thing to say like okay, because people hate when I say this, but Booker and Levine remind me of Kobe and T-Mac. Like Levine, okay. When I see T-Mac, I see a lot of, or when I see Levine, I see a lot of T-Mac. I just see a lot, and then when I see Booker, I see a lot of Kobe. I'm not saying that that's who they are. I'm just saying that's who it looks like when I watch him play. Yeah, and like I think people, when they saw Darren Williams, I think they thought he was gonna be Chris Paul. And like,
Darren Williams was Darren Williams, man. He was a problem. He was 20-10 for a while in Utah. Yeah, Boozer. He was 20-10 for a while. I don't know, man. I think injuries got him towards the end too, and going to New Jersey, like he didn't play with anybody.
So, did you go to high school in Chicago then?
No, I'm from Chicago suburbs. So.
Oh, but you went to high school in Chicago then? Yeah. So I got a question for you because this is a theory I have why so many dudes from Chicago keep getting hurt. Is it like, are the courts harder? Because I know like concrete
playing on concrete in general,
concrete
is not
in the
good
winter
for the patellas at all.
No, and I think like because I keep looking at guys from like New York and Chicago and Philly, I'm like, how come these guys aren't holding up? Whereas like James Harden, you don't see him hurt. Same with like Russ, and I'm like, well, because it's 75 degrees year round there. Whereas like in Chicago, I feel like if you're playing on the concrete in the winter.
Yeah, I'm sure that could have something to do with it. Because that concrete definitely doesn't give. It's not good for the patellas at all.
Have you been to Venice Beach? Have you been in like?
Yeah, I've been to Venice.
Have you like walked at least just like walked on the courts? Yeah. Not necessarily play, but like
I've shot around there, and you know
it feels softer, don't it? Like it just feels like you're on the beach, man.
It could be that. It could be that for sure.
I'm like, yo, save my guy's knees, man.
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade, Derrick Rose.
But when you look at their style of play too, they're definitely like slashers, like get to the bucket.
Yeah.
You know, and that's Midwest hoops, like get to the bucket. You know.
Who was it that told me that the reason why you see slashers and stuff like that in Chicago is because they didn't want to shoot in the wind?
We get all the jokes, man.
I was like,
but still, the best.
I'm like, yo, you might be.
Best hoopers come from the Midwest, man, and I'm still holding to it.
LA is kind of the only other city that I can be like.
Yeah, they say New York's the Mecca, man, but I feel like they've been
New York's the Mecca because Rucker in Madison Square.
Yeah,
and that's about it.
But
we got New York slander on this podcast.
I don't see hoopers coming from New York anymore too much.
You got Kemba, Kyrie.
Kyrie's Jersey. Jersey does have a couple, you know.
I think he's from Brooklyn. Is he from Jersey? No, I think you're right.
I thought he's a Jersey boy, but
yeah.
But still, I'm not. Yeah. No.
I mean, you got two good guards.
Yeah.
Who aren't playing right now.
I don't know, man. At me, you know, more New York hoopers because I don't really see it.
Melo. Well, I guess Melo's actually from like Baltimore or something like that. Like.
He was from New York and then went to Baltimore. I mean, you got your Lance Stevensons.
Shout out to Lance.
You know.
Hey, I'm still mad at Lala Vasquez after all these years. And it's not even her fault, to be honest. That's just me being a toxic Bulls fan. It was funny. I was talking to a couple girls I know, and I was like, I do my best to be a good dude. At the same time, I might not pick up the call if the Bulls are in a close game. I just want you to know that up front. Like,
I'm good for skipping anything if the Sixers on.
I'm like, yo, listen, if it's 113 or 110, I'm just saying you might get that call skipped a little.
Yeah, that's definitely getting skipped. I'm not, especially if the Sixers on. I'm locked in.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, listen, like I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna be that dude. I'm gonna do my very best, you know, just to make sure that like I'm doing the right thing. But if I'm playing Tekken and if I'm playing online,
I'm locked in.
Yeah, no, you might be on silent. Sorry. That's dope though, man. She finally went and chilled out.
I think she's good now. That's what she does all day. That toy thing was completely random. She ain't rummaged through that bucket of toys in I don't know how long.
Shout out to like just any dog for like, oh man, something new's happening. Let me be a part of it. And then, like after a while, I was like, Like we're almost at an hour, and it's like they got it.
Yeah, they cool. They good now. They good.
So what you got? What you got that you're working on? What you got that you're working?
Man, 6x6 stuff for sure. Follow us on social media.
Are you doing a Christmas drive?
Yep, doing that gift exchange. I think it's 13 boys now we're working with from that group on. We're doing that. Right after that, we get into my boy Richard does haircuts for New Year's.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, New Year's. New cut, new me. Kind of playing off the new year, new me.
Yeah, that's dope.
So we're gonna try to organize that a little bit better. This is usually like our busy season, like this holiday season is when we're trying to.
From Christmas to about January, then.
Yeah.
Or from Thanksgiving, I should say, to about January.
Yeah. Even after that, March we try to do some stuff with March's reading month.
Okay.
But yeah, it kind of stretches from right now. We're really getting it going. But yeah, 6x6 Brotherhood on IG. Our website's up as well, 6x6brotherhood.org. Facebook, same thing. But yeah, we're just kind of getting it going, man. Trying to get out in the community and do stuff. We're always looking to work with people. So like I said, if you got any ideas, reach out, and we got the funds. We raise money, so we got money to do stuff.
I'm trying to figure out an idea right now. Just the hard thing right now is figuring out everything with COVID.
Yeah.
Like I was planning, my birthday's in March, so I was planning a trip maybe up to like Seattle and Vancouver, and it's like, yeah, I want to go, but if COVID shuts down everything, then what?
Right.
So I would like to do something, just to kind of, it's important to broaden horizons, for me with art and, sports, because I want to do, that's what I'm trying to do like basketball tournaments and soccer tournaments,
right.
Like you bring people in to play, but then you introduce a DJ because he's spinning tracks all day, something like that.
Oh, they say it all the time. Music and sports go together.
Oh yeah. Well, what's that thing that every baller wants to be a rapper and every rapper wants to be a baller?
Yes, sir. That's how it go.
But I do want to do something with you guys that is. I mean, giveaways are dope.
Yeah.
But I do want to do something. You know what? Actually, now that I think about it, how many kids do you have? You got 13?
I think it's 13 of them. Yeah.
You know what we could do, actually, so I work for the city of Tempe outside my actual job. I coach for the city of Tempe. I used to live in Mesa.
Right.
And the city of Tempe was hiring, for coaches just seasonal. So that's what I coach for. So I'm making that drive, man, from Anthem all the way down to Tempe. And I work in downtown Phoenix. So like
for the kids.
Hey man, that's it right there. Because what hit me is it's very possible that I might be there. I might have been there longer than some families are.
Right.
Because I've been coaching for about 4 years now. And it was super dope when kids saw like coaches here. And then next year coaches here. And then I just saw one of my kids who graduated, who's in high school now. And he's like, "Hey coach, that you? With the long hair and the beard?" I'm like, "What's up, man?" Like,
sir.
But just being there, consistently kind of shows like, nah, man, like I'm with it.
Right.
Which is suck if it was just gonna suck if I ever move, if I ever go somewhere else. But I actually play, so I can talk to Bobby and see what we can do. She's one of the supervisors over there. But I played rugby.
Okay.
We could do like a sevens rugby clinic. So sevens rugby is like if you play it's like 3-on-3 basketball, but for rugby. So
okay,
it's just less people. I'll send you some links. It's dope.
Right.
We don't have to hit, that way. Because rugby scares people, and I get why it does. I had a friend back home who had the top of his ear missing.
Yeah, I'm good.
And I was like, "Yo, how did you do that?" And he goes, my ear, bro? Oh, bro, no, hey, playing rugby, right? And I was like, I'm done right there. Like, he got the top of his ear taken off. He's like, so I started taping them to my ears, bro. And I'm like, shout out to y'all.
Yeah, that's a rough one, man.
It's different, but hey, they teach you how to hit right, first of all. Because you're not hitting. It's not football. You're not like hitting the dude. It's a wrap-up tackle, and you're actually encouraged to like just run to contact. Because the first time I played, I was like, I'm going to be a kick returner, bro. Like, I did all this stuff. Yeah. And then, like, they're like, hey, you outran your team. So, like, you got hit, and then you were just laying there holding the ball out. So, but we could actually probably do something maybe February, March. I'll talk to Bobby, but, like, doing a clinic.
I'm down.
I
would have to study. I know nothing about rugby, but I'm locked in.
I got plenty of coaches.
Yeah.
I got plenty of coaches, including a guy who's mostly blind and is Australian, and I love that dude to death.
I don't know why I got mad pirate vibes when you said that.
Oh, so we were playing he can't see, like, he can see out his peripherals.
Right.
He do play pro. Like, do play pro rugby.
Yeah.
I think he's a jiu-jitsu champion now. Like, dude's an athlete.
Wow.
Dude can play. I love Aussie Nick, man. Dude can play. And I remember we were at practice, and I wasn't great because I picked up rugby when I came out of the military, and I was like healing from a bunch of injuries and like a lot of mental stuff.
Yeah.
Had like a lot of weight loss stuff, and still working on. Weight loss sucks, man. Like, I'm like, yo, this getting in shape thing blows. I should just stay in shape. This sucks.
Getting old.
Fast, man.
Yeah, getting old.
So, but one thing that I always had when I was playing football, basketball, whatever, I was always a good passer.
Right.
And so I perfect pass, man, right to him. And it's like right just in the pocket, perfect for him to take off and run. And it bounces off his chest and lands on the ground. And he's got this heavy Australian accent. He's like, Braven, what the fuck, mate? I'm like, Nick, and usually, like, you know, I'm like, hey, listen, they're right. I'm going to defer to them because I'm learning. I'm like, hold the fuck on, Nick.
Nah, that was spot on.
I hit you right in your fucking chest, my guy. You got to catch that.
He said that was a deal for Don.
Right. And he goes, that's right where I can't fucking see. I was like, oh, shit, he's right.
Hit him in his blind spot.
Yeah, because, like, it was perfect, man. It was, like, just like right over. Because, you know, you basically have to lateral it, you know, but it's a bigger ball. So you're, like, spinning it a little bit, too. It's like it's like if you sat on a basketball and it kind of like fanned out, or if you overinflated a football. It's like that.
Okay.
It's big. It's like this big around, and you can't throw it forward, so you have to pitch it, parallel or backwards. And so it was perfect. I was so excited. And everyone's like, "Ooh, nice pass, bro!" And then, what the fuck, mate? And I'm like, okay.
No, I'm definitely down for that, man. I try to organize we try to do a whole fitness month. So I've been thinking about doing like each month is a different campaign.
Cool.
So like definitely December we're talking a lot about, you know, the process of just like giving and receiving, whether it's like, you know, respect or like, you know, affluence, gifts, whatever it is. But we try to do like a fitness month just to like promote fitness and families to be active, and we want to do like fitness in the park and just expose them to different things, whether it was like yoga and jiu-jitsu or whatever. But rugby would fall right in.
I got some guys that do jiu-jitsu. I mean, you probably do too, but I got some guys that do jiu-jitsu.
But yeah, I'm definitely down. Definitely with COVID, like that got shut down too. We couldn't do that. But if we can get some,
we just held a clinic in Tempe, and you're where at Maryville? Mostly?
Yeah, Maryville.
I wonder if we could get like a. Yeah, I'll talk.
Yeah, we have to get creative, but I'm definitely down to like just expose.
Even if we met like in downtown Phoenix or like, you know, somewhere in between, like got maybe not like a full bus, but like got something where it's like,
something
hey, well,
we can.
You know.
Well, I'm sure with the group
or hell, just do two of them. Just do one week and one the next. Like
that too. But I'm sure the group home has some type of transportation where
for sure.
They can get the boys there.
Because that would be dope, man. Now you don't want people playing like rugby just like in
the streets.
Like, like listen, man, like cover up your ears. But no, I'll send you some stuff, because the cool thing about sevens rugby, it's an Olympic sport.
Okay.
And because the United States is so far behind, like everyone's able to play rugby.
Yeah.
So like the U.S. like 15s team, like the regular team, kind of trash. I'm not gonna lie. Mostly because New Zealand and England just kick the shit out of them every year.
I think the crazy thing about that too, and when you just said that we're behind, is like with hockey. So I was still in Chicago when the Blackhawks were on their run, and just because the Blackhawks were winning, like exploded. Everybody was trying to get into hockey. Like kids at school were asking, "Hey, can we do hockey?" Or like, "Do we have hockey equipment?" So I think all it takes is just that one, you know, that spark of whatever in the community. You know, maybe starting a small league or whatever it is. Like that could, you know, that could be something huge.
Like, even if it's like a Saturdays league where it's like we just, you know, pick and choose. Like
that could definitely blow up.
That'd be cool. That'd be really cool. I wonder if an intercity rugby thing could actually be really dope too. Because the cool thing about rugby is that like all you need is a field. Like if you've ever seen their uniform, it's just like really short shorts and a polo, which is kind of hilarious. But you know, like you don't really need. A lot. It's not like baseball. And
that's right up the alley for underprivileged like communities. You know? Like any sport that doesn't take a lot of equipment, like a basketball. Basketball doesn't take a lot of equipment. That's why like inner city like hoopers are so big. Not like a baseball where it's like you need this, you need that, you need that, and that's where we kind of like don't get that exposure. But definitely rugby might be an easy one to.
Rugby's cool too because it encourage. One of the guys I play with is like 5'4", but he played punt returner in high school and like scat back in high school. Right. It's like it's perfect for him. He's like, hey, I can take a hit. I'm good.
Right.
Like But
no, I'm interested, man. Send me some stuff. I'm down for it.
Rugby sevens is like rugby 15s is a little bit like all right, get the big boys out there.
Yeah.
Rugby sevens though, it's fast.
I was about to ask that fast-paced game.
Oh man, it's notice like we can't. There was a game that we used to play where everyone would chase someone.
Say less.
And I don't have a good secondary name
I already
for it.
know
And
what
we're
you're
definitely
about.
not calling
And
it.
that was
We are definitely not calling it the name that we
canceled quick. Yeah. No.
I know. No, we said we're not going to say that.
Yeah, she offended.
Yeah, no, we said we're not going to. I'm sorry. But
no,
it's basically like a team version of that, but it's a lot more organized.
Yeah.
But it's just fast. You know, like if that ball comes out, it's going the opposite way. But yeah, it's not. I was talking to my friend. I was like, "Yo, do you remember? We used to say some wild shit."
Wow.
And looking back, I'm like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, not.
There's people I gotta apologize to, man. Like,
yeah.
Like, go ahead and listen to some like 2003 DMX and see if you're like, "Oh my god."
Rough.
Rest in peace, DMX. Damn, bro.
Rough.
But yeah, I'll shoot you some stuff definitely before I leave too, and we'll connect on that.
Yeah, I definitely want to lock in on that. Trying to think what else I've been having ideas. I just have so many ideas, man, that just pop up. And it's like, man, how am I going to get these off? And like, who do I need to talk to like, put this stuff into motion? But yeah, I'm down for that.
Cool. That sounds good, man. That sounds really, really good. So, you dropped your social media. You got that going. That Christmas toy drive. I'm gonna start promoting that for you too.
Yeah, I just dropped the flyer today.
Cool.
I just dropped the flyer.
So, yeah,
I'm actually
I'm gonna link that then.
I'm meeting with the lady tomorrow to get more details because last year, once again with COVID, like it was almost like we just dropped off the gifts and that was it.
Yeah.
But this year we want to make it like a whole event where we can be there. Hopefully, get some of the donors to be there as well to go through the gift exchange with the boys. Have some treats outside. We'll probably be outside under a tent, but we're in Phoenix, so it'll be nice weather.
Yeah, at the very worst, it's gonna be like 65.
Right. Put on a hoodie.
Yeah, exactly.
Put on a hoodie. You're fine.
I'm just about to say.
But no, we definitely want to make it a better event and keep working, like you said, just the consistency of working with the same organizations we've been working with, and just making those like annual events so they have something to look forward to each year. So that's what the hopes are.
You could do a really cool Christmas thing too. I mean, it's getting a little bit close.
Yeah.
So it might take a little bit more planning, or even maybe like a 2022. But I think we could do a lot of cool stuff
around this time.
See, now look, man, you got business negotiations, you got basketball talk. Come on, man.
That's what it's about, man.
All right, hey, listen.
For
Andre, this is Braven, the grown-up kid. Thank you for listening. If you are listening, if you're not listening, at least play it through. That way we can get the,
Start listening.
Yeah, start listening, man.
Tell a friend to tell a friend, man. It's good conversation, man. This guy Braven's amazing. Good stories. So y'all should reach out, man. Get on the store. I mean, get on the podcast. Reach out to him, man. Everybody's got a story we need to share.
That's it. Oh my god, I've said that so many times.
Everybody's got a story, yo. Let's share it. Let's talk.
Perfect, man. See, we're gonna do some stuff. We're gonna do some stuff together. All right, appreciate it, guys. Peace. Thank you.